riverparishfootball.com presentation.
Records don't mean anything. Stats don't mean anything at this point. Everybody's starting from square one.
Now it's, we crank it up a few notches, and now it's we're hunting for December.
We tell our kids all the time, when it's hot, you're outside in August and you're at camp and you're sweating, you got to suffer through the heat so you get to play when it's cold.
It just, first it's tradition. We go to the playoffs every year. Then it gives us the chance to do what we want to do. We want to win a state championship. And we want to send everybody on one day to know that we came here not just to make a run the playoffs. We came here to go to the Dome.
I think this is the 21st year in a row that we're in the playoffs. It's kind of like Christmas time, though. It's the best time of the season. Is why we put in all the hard work, hard hours, the long hours.
In River Parish and at Riverside, it's a must. It's like a religion. We expect to make the playoffs every year.
It's a River Parish football playoff preview. Hello, everyone, from Rudolph Denvo Stadium. Welcome to our riverparishfootball.com playoff preview. I'm Eric Richey alongside RPF.com senior writer George Becnel as we bring you River Parish football playoff action. George, 6 of our 8 schools are in.
And also 4 of those teams are at home, so the local fans get to come out and cheer their teams on in the opening round of the playoffs.
Including right here at West St. John. That's where we begin tonight. 1A, the number 6 seed, West St. John, the Rams behind Coach Robert Valdez, taking on Sacred Heart of Ville Platte.
Our keys are defensively to be able to, be aggressive, and attack the line of scrimmage and, try to stop the run and force them to throw. Offensively, we want to control the line of scrimmage with our run game and, pick our spots to throw the ball. So, we want to get the ball to our playmakers.
And Coach Valdez has plenty of those this year, like Jairus Mole, who splashed his way into the end zone with 4 seconds left in an overtime thriller over their rivals from St. James.
It's gonna be pretty easy for us. I mean, they're a good team, but we over talented them, man. It's gonna be we hoping a quick game for us to get out that first round quick. To worry about next week, St. John. That's who we're looking for next week.
We feel that we have a chance to do everything we set out for the beginning of the year was to win the state championship. So we're going to take it one game at a time and just know that if we win from our own, we have the chance to go to the state championship and win.
We have great team speed, and I think that when you do try to spread us out, we have enough ability where we can cover you man to man, we can zone you, we can blitz you, we can just play base defense and all that. But I think that we have the skill set to be able to be better suited for a spread-type offense.
It's been an exciting Rams team all year. They got past that big hurdle of White Castle a year ago. George, just how far can this West St. John team go?
West St. John has a chance to go quite far in this year's playoffs because they have more balance. Defensively, they've always been good under Robert Valdez and his tenure here, but also now they have a lot more offensive weapons. Austin Howard has developed nicely as a sophomore quarterback. Darius Small has been one of the top playmakers both as a receiver, also running the ball and kick returning. And they also have Kylam Favorite, who has developed over the last half of the season to be one of the best running backs in the River Parish area.
It's time for us to step aside and take our first break here with our riverparishfootball.com playoff preview. When we return, we go to 2A. That's where Riverside, a home date on Friday, an 11 seed, getting ready to host 22nd seed DeQuincy. Fatty's Bar and Grill in Garyville. On Tuesdays, it's our 12-ounce ribeye. Wednesday night and Sundays for lunch, all-you-can-eat fried fish. Thursday, try our half rack of barbecue ribs. And Friday, it's the all-you-can-eat Dungeness and snow crabs served with sausage, potatoes, and corn. After you eat, head to the bar. A great place to watch the game.
It's always a good time to find it, Chef.
Welcome back to riverparishfootball.com's playoff preview. Eric Richey alongside George Becnel. Let's go to 2A, George. Riverside, they lose so many guys, but a nice run. They take on DeQuincy.
Yes, they lost a lot both on the offensive and defensive lines, and also the big name that they lost was quarterback Darnell Rashal. But Tate Ciano's really come in and played well, and a lot of the River Parish quarterbacks this year seem to be sort of similar in that they are more unlike Rashal, who was sort of like a game breaker type. These are more manage the game type games, and the quarterbacks, and they've done quite well.
Let's go ahead and start our preview, beginning with head coach Mickey Roussel.
I mean, this is what you play for. You know, we talk to our senior class a lot, and they've been playing football, some of them for, 12, 15 years. And their season and their careers are coming close to an end. And when you could get in the playoffs, and when you talk in those terms, hey, you win, you stay in, lose, you're done.
And that's not what his players want, especially after defying the odds and rallying behind a team full of first-year starters.
Oh, exciting. Second season, just what we look forward to. And we come out and just play our football, just like we always did.
Oh, I love being in the playoffs. I mean, came so fast my senior year, I want to go as far as we can, as far as we can make it.
Electricity, it's playoffs, and this is what you play for. So our goals were August 1st is to, hopefully get in the playoffs and have a first-round playoff game, because after that, you just go where the brackets take you. So we there, and the excitement's in the air.
For Coach Roussel and his Rebels, very similar to the way things unfolded at the end of last season.
A year ago, Riverside lost to John Curtis in the middle of the season and bounced back to go undefeated the rest of the way and advancing to the playoffs. Very similar happenings again this year. They did drop one of those games toward the end of the season, but once again put themselves in a position to host a playoff game in the first round.
George, thanks. When we return, 3A. St. Charles goes in as a 2 seed. We'll hear from Coach Monica and several players as the beat goes on riverparishfootball.com. Brock's Automotive and Tire Center is your one-stop shop for all your vehicle's needs. Our experienced certified auto techs offer full service on all makes and models, alignment, state inspections and brake tags, and a major selection of tires. For complete state-of-the-art auto repairs, AC work, and computer diagnostics. We're right along the river in Reserve. Brock's Automotive and Tire Center with 24-hour towing service. Back here at Rudolph Denvo Stadium, Eric Richey alongside George Becnel. We advance to 3A. St. Charles, George, was number 1 in the polls all year, but they enter the postseason the number 2 seed based on power points. They take on Kaplan, a 2 versus 31. Man, Frank Monica has been up against it with injuries all year. He loses another one of his dynamic playmakers. Week 10 going into the postseason.
A dominant team throughout the season, perhaps the best backfield in the state. Marcus Hall gets hurt mid-season. They don't miss a beat because they have Lezedrick Thompson, and then he gets hurt in Week 10. So now both of those guys will not be around for the first round of the playoffs.
We begin our comments preview by hearing from Coach Frank Monica.
Band together. I mean, we don't expect to miss a beat. We expect us to be, I don't think that the problem is not going to be us. The problem is going to be Kaplan. So we have to make sure that we prepare for them, and we're in the playoffs and whatnot. And as we told them during the year, I mean, your program takes care of the season, but if you're going to win championships, the playoffs is what counts.
As Frank Monica addressed his players before practice on Monday, he did so knowing that he had lost another running back to injury. Lezedrick Thompson joined Marcus Hall in street clothes after injuring his knee in the regular season finale against E.D. White.
It's really unlucky to not have them. They were obviously a big part of the offense. But what people don't know is that we have a lot of depth. Like Jeffrey Hall was at this position 2 years ago, and I'm sure he'll be back there. We'll see a lot of him. And, I think we'll have guys that will be able to step up.
We've just been dealing with it the best way we can. Play as a team, stay together. That's all my family. Everybody just got to stay hungry. Play their part. Don't try to do too much. Stay within themselves.
Outside of the injuries, the Comets roll into the playoffs on the heels of a defense that recorded 6 shutouts during the season, including 4 in a row to close out the year. But numbers don't mean that much at this time of the year to Coach Monica.
Your record doesn't matter now. Everybody's 0-0. It's sudden death. I mean, you either win or you collect basketball gear and go to basketball right after this. So I think everybody understands the importance of being in the playoffs, and records don't mean anything. Stats don't mean anything at this point. Everybody's starting from square one, and that's a big thing with us.
George, St. Charles goes into this game with a 10-0 record. They had 6 shutouts this season, 4 in a row to end the season. Defensively, they'll be challenged, though, with that wing T.
Teams in our area don't see offenses like the wing T much that Kaplan has, but at least St. Charles did have a chance to go against variations of that offense because both Bruley and St. James play versions of that this season.
Thanks, George. Time for us to step aside. When we return, 4A. We'll talk to Coach Tim Detillier as the Lutcher Bulldogs get ready for a Friday night showdown against 30 seed Benton. The Sports Pub and Grill in Destrehan has it all. A great place to watch the game, daily drink specials, and you won't believe the food. From our fresh 10-ounce burgers, fully loaded baked potatoes, and great salads too, like taco salad and grilled chicken. Need something to rinse it down with? How about one of our refreshing daiquiris? A great atmosphere for the whole family. Just a few miles west of the airport. The Sports Pub and Grill, 3001 Ormond Boulevard in Destrehan. Back here with our RiverParishFootball.com playoff preview, Eric Richey, George Becnel. It's time to talk 4A, where Tim Detillier has his Bulldogs on a roll since that first week loss to Dutchtown.
Same as last year, opened the season with a loss to Dutchtown, ran off 9 straight wins going into the playoffs. Same exact thing again this year.
They're home on Friday taking on the 30 seed in Benton, but Coach Detillier and those Dogs, they know they got to take it one step at a time.
You know, I think this is the 21st year in a row that we're in the playoffs, so it's definitely something I'd expected. You know, it's just part of what we do. It's kind of like Christmas time, though. It's the best time of the season. It's why we put in all the hard work, hard hours.
We just remember that feeling we had a week one when we lost, and we just don't want it again. Oh, at Lutcher, it's like early Christmas. It's every week it's like a holiday, I guess. It's just great.
I mean, you come from a family where, I mean, your grandfather and your father and your uncle and all these guys that play quarterback.
It feels real good, but I do feel a lot of pressure. I feel like I got to do good every game, so I feel that pressure from them, but I feel like I'm doing pretty good, and hopefully I keep it rolling.
And for Mathern lately, that's been coming on the ground. In the last 2 games combined, he's rushed for over 200 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. Those are Daniel Taylor-like numbers. Well, not quite. Taylor ends up as the River Parish football regular season rushing champ. And for Lutcher, what a rebound from a season-opening loss to 9 straight wins.
I think a lot of people didn't expect the record that we have. I think most people were thinking maybe 6-4, 7-3 because we did lose a lot. But here we are 9-1 with the number 3 seed, and hey, we'll take it. You know, but the bottom line is we're where we're supposed to be, playing our best football at the most important time of the year. So I'll take it.
Coach Detillier and those Bulldogs, they're tough on defense, but they also have the RiverParishFootball.com's rushing champion in Daniel Taylor.
Lutcher is one of the most experienced teams in the playoffs. 21 straight years for Tim Detillier's team in the playoffs, and no one is more experienced than running back Daniel Taylor. The all-time rushing leader at the school has been a starter since the 8th grade.
George, thanks. Time for a break. When we return, our 2 5A teams are the only 2 teams in the area that play on the road in Week 1. East St. John and Hahnville on deck. Buckwalder Insurance Group has been serving the River Parishes for over 20 years. With 8 licensed service and sales producers, the Buckwalder Insurance Group handles all of your insurance needs. With 3 convenient locations in Destrehan, Bootheel, and Kenner, stop by and get a quote. Or just call at 985-764-3833 and compare rates at Buckwalder Insurance Group. Time to talk 5A. George Becnel, Eric Richey. We begin with Hahnville, and for Lou Valden and those Tigers, they've been in playoff mode since starting off 1-3.
1-3 had never happened before under Coach Valden, and they really bounced back, lost 1 only the rest of the way, and had they lost 2, they wouldn't be in the playoffs Friday night.
The win and the good news is they're in the playoffs. The bad, they got to go to West Monroe for round 1. The clock had yet to strike 0 on last week's beatdown of rival Destrehan, and the paint job was already underway. For Hahnville, a share of another district title, worthy of a 2011. But just days later, the purple paint was replaced by a wire hanger.
You know what this means, huh? Okay. All right, that's all. All right, you put it on the fence on the way out. Well, every year we start the playoffs, we take a hangout, we hang it on the fence, and that's just to remind them that every week half the team in the state, they're going to be hanging their stuff up. They're going to be picking up equipment.
At Hahnville, it's felt like the playoffs for weeks, especially once district play began. It's the price you pay when you start off the season 1-3. But now that the Tigers are in, that's a price they'll gladly pay.
Oh yeah, we had a tough road down. It was a tough start going 1-3, and man, we got a team that never wants to quit. We're always hungry, always want to win. And I think as the year went on, we started getting better and better as a team, and we started playing harder as a team, more as a team together, and we came out with wins.
If we lost any more games, that playoffs would be at stake. So it's like once we realized that, like once we lost anymore, that our season could be over, our senior season, and all this, like this whole team, like would have fell apart. It's like we weren't ready for that.
Hahnville's reward for making the playoffs, a first-round matchup at West Monroe, who finished up last season at the Dome.
We was ready for any competition that was, we knew we was gonna have to play a higher ranked team, but like we wasn't gonna let that stop us. We was just like, it didn't matter who was gonna play, we was gonna play our best, and we was gonna be ready for that team. Like we got West Monroe, and we ready.
They're a very good team. We watched film on them, they're very good, very sound, but I think if we play as a team and the way we've been playing lately, that we can hang on anybody in the state.
There's two types of teams that get in the playoffs. You got the type that are happy to be there, and you got the type that are looking at the Superdome. And, you know, the big thing is we're not looking ahead, but, you know, our thing is our kids have to understand that there is no next game if we don't win this one.
Hahnville's 6-4 record is a bit unusual for the Tigers, but this may be one of Lou Valden's better coaching jobs, considering he had to replace 18 of 22 starters, most of his experience coming in the defensive secondary.
George, you're right. Let's talk about East St. John now, where Philip Banco, a first-year head coach, done a nice job with the Wildcats. They're the only team in our area playing on a Saturday. They do so at Tad Gormley Stadium against a tough opponent in Brother Martin.
Yeah, and it should be a really interesting matchup because you have two teams that are seated quite close to one another, and usually those portend to be quite good games.
Let's go ahead and start our Wildcats preview by checking in with head coach Philip Banco.
Yeah, we're going to come in about 8:30, 8:45. And then we're going to have a breakfast for them, and then we're going to have some meetings and a small walkthrough, and then we're going to get on a bus. We're leaving at 11. And then we're going to get down there and, you know, let them see the big stadium, you know, that we never get to play in, and all them boys up in New Orleans get to play in every week. And I'm going to measure it off for them. It's still 120 yards long and 52 and a half yards wide, and that was a bathroom with a urinal and a toilet, and, you know, it's time to play football.
As the sun sets on another regular season, East St. John prepares for the dawn of a new beginning. You see, it's been 6 years since the Wildcats have been victorious in the postseason, with more than one of those losses, like last year, coming to Acadiana.
My memories of the playoffs is playing Acadiana. Every year I played Acadiana and got beat in the first round. This year we got Brother Martin, and we plan on making another move.
You know, I've seen all the seniors cry every year. For 3 years straight, my 9th, 10th, 11th grade year, and I told myself my 9th, 10th, my 11th grade year, my 12th grade year, I won't do that. I don't want to go in the first round.
As I've been hearing majority of the times, like every year, every time they go to the playoffs, we always get knocked out, but that made me want it even more because I'm a great competitor.
Desmond Broussard has shown that all season, and along with Rashad Green, formed a dynamic duo for East St. John quarterback Darian Monroe, who won the regular season River Parish passing title with 1,700 plus yards.
Making noise in the playoffs means a lot to us because we got a new coaching staff. We want to prove something here this year, and we plan on doing it.
I've already had several people close to me in this program ask me about next week, and I just got upset. I don't know who we're playing. I forbid anybody on this team and this coaching staff to bring a bracket into my office or in this locker room. We're not going to look at that. We'll find out who we play Friday night. And then we'll worry about that next week, when and if that happens. Right now, all of our energy needs to be turned to Brother Martin. You know, we're playing on a Saturday, which is a different time for these young men and these coaches, so I got to prepare them for that. I like it because I love playing on Saturday afternoon. I mean, that's fun.
George, he may be one of the most dynamic playmakers in our area. He plays quarterback, he plays defensive back, he punts. Darian Monroe does it all.
Yeah, he sure does. He can be both a threat, both running and throwing the football, even in the defensive secondary. One of the reasons why he was such a highly recruited player.
George, so there you have it. All 6 of our teams, a preview. You heard from all 6 coaches, many of the top players in River Parish football. It's going to be a great postseason. St. Charles and Lutcher, it starts with those 2 teams at top, with the Comets at 10-0, Lutcher's 9-1. I mean, our 5A teams really have it up. I mean, it's going to be a tough battle for both Hahnville and East St. John, but it's going to be some exciting football here for the next couple of weeks.
And it should be the next couple of weeks, maybe not more. I think we have teams in our area that can advance, quite nicely in the playoffs.
Well, we'll follow it right here on riverparishfootball.com. Right in this very section, we'll have a playoff preview each week with George Becnel, the senior writer of riverparishfootball.com, and myself, Eric Richey. For now, that is all. From West St. John High School, for riverparishfootball.com, for George Becnel, I'm Eric Richey. Good night and good luck to the River Parish football teams.